Imagine this: a little girl, no more than 7 years old, tugs at the sleeve of a complete stranger in a crowded park. Her voice is barely a breath, trembling with fear. "That's not my real mommy," she whispers, pointing to a woman watching them from afar. The stranger, a millionaire businessman who's seen it all, freezes. What happens next unravels a web of lies, heartbreak, and a truth so shocking it could destroy lives. This isn't just a story, it's a real-life nightmare that exposes the dark underbelly of family secrets. Stick around, because by the end, you'll question everything you know about the people closest to you. Hi everyone. Today, we're unpacking this chilling case that went viral for all the wrong reasons. Hit that like button if you're ready to be stunned. Let's set the scene. It was a crisp autumn afternoon in Central Park, New York City, back in 2018. The leaves were turning gold, families were out enjoying the last bits of warmth before winter hit. That's when Alexander Grant, a 45-year-old self-made millionaire who'd built his fortune in tech startups, decided to take a rare break from his boardroom battles. Alexander wasn't your typical tycoon. He was known for his philanthropy, often donating millions to children's charities. But on this day, he was just a guy sipping coffee on a bench, scrolling through emails on his phone. Enter Emily Thompson, a wide-eyed girl with messy pigtails and a backpack that looked too big for her tiny frame. She was sitting alone on the grass nearby, drawing in a notebook. Alexander noticed her because kids like her, quiet, watchful, reminded him of his own daughter, who he'd lost custody of years earlier in a bitter divorce. He smiled at her, and that's when it happened. Emily scooted closer, her little voice cutting through the park's chatter like a knife. "Mister," she said, glancing over her shoulder, "that's not my real mommy." She nodded toward a woman in her 30s, dressed in a simple sundress, pretending to read a book but clearly keeping tabs on them. Alexander's heart skipped. At first, he thought it was a child's imagination running wild. Kids say the darndest things, right? But Emily's eyes weren't playful, they were haunted, pleading. "She's mean," Emily continued in a whisper. "She took me from my real family. Please don't tell her I said that." The woman, let's call her Lisa for now, started walking over, her smile forced. "Emily, honey, time to go. Who's this nice man?" But Alexander couldn't shake the girl's words. As a father himself, something felt off. Little did he know, this innocent chat would lead to a discovery that would make headlines and expose a multi-million-dollar child trafficking ring. Statistics back this up. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, over 460,000 children go missing in the U.S. each year, and many cases involve custody disputes or worse, illegal adoptions. Emily's whisper wasn't just a cry for help, it was a spark that ignited a firestorm. Alexander, ever the problem solver, slipped Emily his business card with a note: "If you need me, call." He watched as Lisa hurried her away, but that image of the girl's fearful face stuck with him like glue. Alexander Grant wasn't one to let things slide. Back in his sleek Manhattan penthouse that evening, he couldn't focus on his next deal. Emily's words echoed, "That's not my real mommy. Who was this girl? And why did she look so out of place with that woman?" He started simple, a quick Google search on missing children in the area. Nothing immediate popped up, but something nagged at him. The next day, he hired a private investigator, Mark Reynolds, a former NYPD detective with a nose for family dramas. Mark's first report came fast. Lisa Hargrove, 35, had no official records of adopting a child. Her background was spotty, a string of low-paying jobs, evictions, and whispers of involvement in underground networks. But Emily? Her description matched a missing persons report from 3 years earlier in a small town in Ohio. The real Emily Harper, age 4 at the time, had vanished from a playground. Her biological parents, Sarah and Tom Harper, were everyday folks, a teacher and a mechanic, devastated by the loss. "We searched everywhere," Sarah later told reporters in a tearful interview. "The police said it was probably a runaway case, but she was just a baby. Our lives fell apart." Alexander's gut twisted. He remembered a quote from his late mother, a social worker: "Children don't lie about fear, they feel it in their bones." Driven by that, he went deeper. Using his connections, he accessed non-public databases, nothing illegal, just favors from tech buddies who owed him. What he found chilled him. Lisa was linked to a shadowy adoption agency called New Beginnings Family Services, shut down in 2017 for irregularities. Rumors swirled of black market adoptions, where vulnerable kids were rehomed to desperate couples for hefty fees. Emily wasn't the first, there were at least a dozen similar cases. But here's where it gets emotional. Alexander visited the park again the next week, hoping to spot Emily. He did, playing alone while Lisa chatted on her phone. He approached casually, offering Emily a juice box. "Remember me?" he asked softly. Her face lit up, then fear flashed as she whispered, "Don't let her take me again. She hurts." That moment broke him. Tears welled in Alexander's eyes, real tears from a man who'd stared down sharks in boardrooms. He snapped discreet photos and handed them to Mark. "Find her real family," he said. "No child deserves this." Real-world parallels abound. Take the case of Kamaya Mobley, abducted as a newborn in 1998 and raised by her kidnapper until DNA reunited her with her biological family in 2017. Or the heartbreaking story of Carlina White, who suspected her mom wasn't real and solved her own kidnapping at age 23. These aren't fiction, they're reminders that truth often hides in plain sight. Alexander's pursuit wasn't just curiosity, it was justice for a little girl who'd trusted a stranger. As the investigation heated up, the pieces started falling into place, and they were uglier than anyone imagined. Mark Reynolds tailed Lisa for days, uncovering a double life. By night, she attended high society events, posing as a single mom to attract wealthy admirers. But Emily? She was kept hidden, homeschooled in isolation, her existence barely documented. Alexander, using his resources, ran a DNA test discreetly, swabbing a lollipop Emily had dropped during their park meet. The results? A 99.9% match to the Harpers in Ohio. The emotional core hit when Alexander flew to Ohio unannounced. He met Sarah and Tom in their modest home, photos of baby Emily everywhere. "I think I found her," he said, showing the pictures. Sarah collapsed in sobs. "My baby? After all these years?" Tom, voice cracking, added, "We never stopped hoping. Every night, I'd pray she'd whisper the truth to someone, anyone." That quote from Tom captures the raw agony of parental loss. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, parental child abduction affects over 200,000 families annually, leaving scars that never fully heal, but the plot thickened. Lisa wasn't acting alone. Her boyfriend, Victor Lang, a disgraced lawyer, was the brains. They'd bought Emily from a trafficking ring for $50,000, falsifying papers to make her theirs. Victor had ties to corrupt officials, turning desperate kids into commodities. Alexander confronted the reality: this wasn't a one-off, it was part of a $150 million underground industry, as reported by UNICEF. He felt rage, but also purpose. "Money can't buy innocence," he later said in an exclusive interview, "but it can buy justice." The climax came one rainy evening. Alexander, with Mark and a tip from an anonymous source, staked out Lisa's apartment. Emily was inside, alone while Lisa was out. Using a pretext, a delivery from the park man, Alexander got Emily to the door. Her whisper: "Help me, please. She's not who she says." In that moment, as thunder rumbled, Alexander scooped her up, calling the police. Lisa returned to chaos, sirens, flashing lights, her facade crumbling. "She's mine," she screamed, but the DNA evidence was ironclad. Emotionally, this reunion was pure gold, or rather, pure tears. Emily, reunited with Sarah and Tom, clung to her real mom. I knew you'd find me, she said. Sarah's embrace? Priceless. Alexander watched from the sidelines, his own paternal wounds healing a bit. It's moments like these that remind us, one person's whisper can echo into salvation. The arrest made national news. Millionaire hero uncovers child kidnapping plot. Lisa and Victor faced charges of kidnapping, fraud, and child endangerment. Victor flipped, exposing the ring, leading to 15 more rescues. Alexander's reward? Not cash, but a foundation in Emily's name, funding anti-trafficking efforts. He's donated over $10 million since, turning pain into purpose. Emily's story? She's thriving now, 9 years old, in therapy but smiling again. That man was like a guardian angel, Sarah shared in a 2022 TED Talk. He listened when no one else did. Stats from the FBI show that stranger interventions like Alexander's have risen 20% in awareness campaigns, proving one act ripples outward, but it's not all triumph. Alexander struggled with PTSD from the ordeal, haunted by what-ifs. What if I hadn't been there, he confided to a close friend. This vulnerability humanizes him, reminding us heroes bleed too. Real examples abound. In 2020, a similar case in the UK saw a banker save a boy from his abductors after a playground whisper. These stories build credibility. They're not anomalies, they're calls to action. So, what can we take from Emily's whisper? First, trust your instincts. Alexander did, and it saved a life. Second, children's words carry weight. Listen. A study by Child Help found that 90% of abuse disclosures start with a subtle hint. Third, privilege like Alexander's amplifies good. Use it. But even without millions, awareness is power. If you see something off, a kid's fearful glance, speak up. Call authorities. Be the stranger who cares. Emily's whisper changed everything, from stolen innocence to reclaimed joy, all because one millionaire looked beyond the surface. The truth? It's often hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to listen. Next time you hear a child's quiet plea, what will you do? Let this be your reminder, you could be the hero in someone's story. If Emily's tale moved you, hit that like button, drop a comment. Have you ever witnessed something suspicious? Share below. Subscribe for more real-life mysteries that keep you hooked. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, stay kind. See you next time.